Really after, last afternoon's meeting in a more relaxed setting. They were speaking to each other in a more relaxed setting, which kind of...
they had tea, they watched an opera.
Yeah, and smoothed the relationship a little bit.
And now clearly they're trying to set the mood of excitement, of energy, of positive feelings here.
That's right.
It's interesting to watch all this unfold here for the American president, of course the Chinese president too, especially considering that President Trump is not enjoying incredible popularity ratings back at home. But here, President Xi is without question rolling out that red carpet as they walk down here with the children singing and dancing there, greeting the two leaders.
Yeah, they're waving these miniature flags, United States flag and Chinese flag, jumping up and down.
We saw one of the children earlier, which I thought was hilarious. The kid did the kung fu moves there.
Really got the move there.
In a suit to boot. And so pretty impressive. And now, obviously President Trump enjoying all this, greeting the children, saying hello.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big ceremony, a big moment for both leaders here.
Yeah, quite an elaborate official ceremony right there
And after this will be serious business. The two leaders are going to go inside the Great Hall of the People, where they have some thorny issues to discuss. It's not just the DPRK issue, but also trade, the economy. There's a lot on the agenda, so they will meet behind closed doors and spend more time together, and then emerge later on this afternoon for a series of events and high-profile meetings.
Yeah, some of the issues, most pressing issues, as our guest mentioned a little earlier, would be the DPRK's nuclear program and the trade issues between the two countries. It'll be interesting to watch how U.S. President Donald Trump is going to change and adjust to a different audience now for the Chinese. He was just traveling from South Korea, giving this really big speech on the DPRK problem in front of National Assembly there in Seoul. And now he is in China. So how he will adjust that tone to his Chinese counterpart, that'll be interesting to watch.
We've seen a lot of changes in President Trump's tones over the months.
Yeah.
We saw during the campaign he was very harsh and very critical of China. Once he got inaugurated, that tone has changed considerably. He describes President Xi as a good friend. He says they have a warm relationship, although they disagree on several big issues. DPRK is just one of them. And so we'll see what kind of impact this meeting has between the two leaders over the months and weeks ahead as they try to tackle some of these thornier issues.
Yeah, let me just bring our guests back in. Mr. Donnan, Mr. Trump actually spoke highly about Chinese president, giving personal praises. I'm sorry, I have to pause for a little bit to let our viewers to
kind of
take
soak
in all the image. Yeah. Just going back to the question before, Mr. Dunham, I was saying Mr. Trump has been given these high personal praises to Mr. Xi, and quoting his words, he says, Mr. Xi is a powerful man. I happen to think he's a very good person, but he also says this won't stop him from getting tough with China on certain issues. What is he prepared to do, and how he's planning to do that?
Well, I think having said that he likes him and he trusts him, it makes it possible for him to criticize the policies of China without making it personal. I know that's one thing. If you go back to Hillary Clinton had some problems with the Chinese government and Chinese people because of the tone, and so her criticisms became personal. I think this is the way you negotiate. You say, I trust you, but we disagree on this. And I think that trade is thorny, but I'm interested in what happens on some foreign policy issues like in Pakistan and India or the South China Sea, because that's where personal relationships become very important, where there's not a deliverable in the same way. But I do think that behind closed doors, they will talk about what they want. The reality is hard bargaining and seeing if there is any common ground where they can move forward.
There's a lot to consider there. Let's take a moment here to listen to some of the music and pageantry put on display for the two presidents. So again, these are live pictures coming from the Great Hall of the People of President Xi and President Trump right there, walking side by side along the red carpet up to the steps here for this very, very special welcome to President Trump to China.
That is right, and they are heading back to the Great Hall of the People where they're expected to have closed-door meetings. I've been told they're going to have 2 sessions of closed-door meetings, and they're about to deliver remarks after the first session. And when that happens, we'll obviously bring that to you live as well.
And just to give you guys at home some perspective here, this is a very formal welcome ceremony that China considers its highest regard for a visiting head of state. This is not necessarily normal. This is not what a foreign leader or a foreign president might necessarily get. China really is putting on a show to make sure that President Trump feels welcome and to build a good relationship between the two leaders.
That's right. As you said, the highest level for a state leader's welcoming ceremony for the 21 gun salute that's been given to President Trump. That is the highest level of military honor in this kind of setting, reserved only for heads of state. He inspected the military guard. You know, he was welcomed by Chinese American school children waving Chinese and U.S. flags. It was really
this trip has been
reception.
this trip has been peppered with all sorts of unprecedented events. The fact that the American president Donald Trump had dinner inside the Forbidden City yesterday with President Xi, and also a very rare special moment that is not usually enjoyed with a visiting head of state.